So good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining the second session on XR4ED Open Calls Q&A webinar on the scope of XR4ED projects. Today we'll have a session dedicated to questions and answer where you'll be able to address all your doubts and concerns about the funding opportunities available on XR4ED project. Today's session will be hosted by me, and we will have the contributions from the coordinator of the project, Dr. Fotis Liarokapis, Dr. Aris Zakaratos, the technical coordinator, and from our colleagues from Neurogames that are developing the platform, both Olger and Yash, or I think Yash will be replaced by another colleague from, call it Robert, and myself, Daniel Silva, as the Open Call Manager. So regarding today's agenda, I would like to mention that we will have this brief presentation on XR4ED project, and we will understand what we are doing, what we are trying to develop as a consortium. We will focus on also a very brief overview on the platform as well that we are developing under the project XR4ED. And then we will get to the Q&A session where we will have around 45 minutes, I believe, to answer all your questions. And further instructions will be shared at that time. So as you can see, we will not focus today on the open call terms and conditions. Why are we not doing that? Because it was already addressed in the info session that we hold on the info session on the 31st of May. And the recording is available on XR4ED digital channels, YouTube, also on the website. And we will share this presentation at the end to all the participants. So we will also be able to get the recording by clicking here on the where it says recording available. But you can address your questions regarding open call terms and conditions, and we will help you through the session. So without further ado, I will invite Dr. Fotis to give a brief presentation on XR4ED project. Thank you, Fotis. Floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Daniel. I will present you a quick overview of XR4ED project. The next slide, please. So the XR4ED consortium is consisting of 11 partners from, as you can see from the picture as well, from different countries. And the overall budget of the project is close to 7.7 million euros. Out of this, 4.6 million euros are allocated, as we said in the previous webinar, on the FSTP calls. Next slide, please. So the main idea of the XR4ED project is to design, create, and maintain an XR sustainable and on-demand educational platform, which is going to address all types of education from schools, universities, colleges, and so on. And in order to achieve that, we have 3 different types of SMART objectives, which I'm going to explain very briefly in the next slides. Next slide, please. So the first type of SMART objective we have is the scientific and innovation objectives. And the main task here is to enhance XR technologies for education. So what we're doing is, all of the partners, we're enhancing existing technologies that we have developed before the project. So we start from TRL 4 or 5. And during the duration of the project, we're taking them to TRL 7. The second SMART objective has 2 sub-objectives. And the idea is, first of all, to implement an innovative, sustainable, on-demand education platform for all types of education, as I said. And the second sub-objective is to focus a lot on privacy and ethics standards for the XR community. The next slide, please. The final smart objective is business objectives. And here we have 3 sub-objectives. First of all, we want to boost the use of the platform by reaching to potential user groups. The second sub-objective is to deliver a pan-European multi-sided platform for education, training, and learning. And this is going to be validating through the tendering and long-lasting demonstrations. And finally, to deliver the sustainable, ever-growing ecosystem of collaborating organizations in different domains. If you can move to the next slide, please. So the concept in general, this what you can see on the right-hand hand is a picture, which is some of the work I have been developing in the past. So it demonstrates several prototypes that were designed. So this is the TRL4 that I was talking about. This is an augmented reality application. In terms of the project, we have 3 main concepts. First of all, we have the XR game authoring tool, or XR authoring tool, which allows the teachers or the educators to upload information, teaching, learning content into the platform without knowing how to program. This is one of the selling points of the project. The second thing is the XR platform, where web-based applications which are going to be integrated with the third-party tools that are going to be developed through the project. And finally, we focus a lot on avatars. Most of the XR or online collaborative environments have very basic types of avatars. We're focusing a lot on several animations in order to make the behavior of the avatars be realistic, as well as the avatars themselves. Next slide, please. So this is a diagram which demonstrates all the different components. I'm not going to go into detail now, but we can take questions. An important thing to note here, which was not noted before, is we have also a marketplace. This is developed by the technical coordinator, which is Haris Zacharatos. He's going to step in a while. So the marketplace is a place where developers or educators can upload content. And this can be fed to our platform in order to have more content from anybody who wants to upload content. And licensing changes depending on the user needs or the developer needs. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this brief introduction to the project goals and technology. So now I will invite Dr. Harris to provide you some overview on the platform. Dr. Harris, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. So on the technical side, let's say the platform is, if you can move on to next slide. Okay, so we have created the platform with a microservices architecture. So this is, it can be expanded and add on different components easily. And this is also a need for the first call of proposals for developers to create components to attach to this platform. So all the APIs are there in order for someone to create a component. Of course, the component creation is on trusted developers and partners. It's not open to the community, the development part. So upon successful of the 10 applicants, we're going to give short tutorials, and we're going to support the team on how to integrate better the ideas that they have to expand the component application. Now, as Fotis mentioned, we have a marketplace. We prefer to have everything through the marketplace than directly integrated. Only in rare cases, things will be integrated directly. This is because developers can come and update their components after the completion of the project. They can have a license to use of components, of other components after the end of the platform, after the 3 years. So it can be a marketplace that can expand the project in a larger scale audience and developers. So you can have also maybe free components in the marketplace or paid components. So we cover everything through the marketplace. So also there is an API on the marketplace to add to the asset store, to use it through the asset store, to the authoring tool. So all these have been implemented. So for an example of a component, which is a question that is frequently asked, our partner Simavi created a component that you can type. It's a GAN generation network. You can type and automatically you can create 3D objects. And now they are creating also 3D voiceovers and maybe 3D videos in a while. So this is an idea, let's say. Of course, this has been implemented just for you to understand what kind of components we need. We need components to give enhancement to the authors, which are the educators. So the educators will have the components ready to the authoring platform and use these components to create lessons. Apart from that, the architecture is expandable. Of course, the platform now, another frequent question is that it's in alpha version. With the first part of developers, this will go on the beta version, and that's why it's not open now to outside audience. Now, on the second tendering process, which has to do with educators creating content using all these components and eventually use them in classrooms and give feedback. This is, again, is going to be done through the authoring tool. Next slide, please. So as I said, we have a lot of microservices ready. This is just a few of them. Okay, we have many, many more, but this will be released when we have the first signing of the contracts. But everything is in microservices. You don't need to mess with that right now. The point is the ideas, the unique ideas to make this a better place for educators to create lessons or content, or of course, all these are under extended reality environments, okay? Because also another frequent question is if we can use desktop applications. The answer is no. It should be the output of this is in devices that they have XR capabilities, phones, Oculus devices, all these XR devices are the outputs that are going to be used also from the students. It's an XR4ED platform. Yes. Thank you very much, and I can answer any question on the technical side.
Thank you, Aris, for your insights, for your further detail and very detailed explanation. So now we will start our Q&A session. I think everyone is expecting a lot for this part of the session, and we are doing this in a different way. And we have here a Q&A rules or instructions to see how this will work. So just to avoid receiving the same question from different participants, and first of all, I have to start with this. So every question needs to be addressed via Q&A chat. Everyone will be able to see all the questions that will be answered. You can upvote questions. So with this, what we want to avoid is duplicating questions. So if you find something that you would like that is similar to your questions, to your doubts, that you like to be answered during this session, please vote that question. If there is no enough time to reply all the questions that we will receive, we will try to find another way to provide answers to those questions. We like to invite everyone to use the help desk email or the discussions board on both open calls on F6S discussion tab, so you can address all your questions there, and we will also try to reply as soon as possible to all your doubts, and you can find and search there if there is anything that was already answered, and try to avoid duplicating questions. So the questions here will be read out loud. So I will read and designate one of the consortium members that are here as a speaker to try to provide you further questions. So without further ado, let's start our Q&A session. So let's see, the first one that we have here with more votes at this moment is this one. So let's start with this one. So for the open call for developers, do we need to develop a new model component that can be used by others, and B, an app using the authoring tool, and C, an app using a technology like Unity? Could you give us some specific examples for virtual field trips or training of young professionals, or what is asked to be developed, please? I think some examples would really help us get a clear picture. So, Aris, maybe you can address this one.
Yes, I can address the first part for the developers because they're asking for both. The first part, as I explained, an example was this component that can create content through the authoring tool. So it's a chat box created by Simavi. So the educator will type in the 3D component that is not there in the asset store, let's say to get, and can use this component in the authoring tool. So that's an idea of component used in the authoring tool. Now, they can create definitely things for the authoring tool to make it better if there are some ideas there. So for developers, it's components to enhance the authoring tool or enhance the platform in general, like the external component of creating content, for example, that I just explained. Now, on the third question about the second part of tenders, the educators will come and use the authoring tool to create lessons. So a demo, an example of, let's say for, what was the question? An example of a virtual tour. Yes, maybe Fotis can answer that because we have already developed an application, let's say for science development application for the system based on that. Fotis, maybe you can describe the avatar, like what's an idea?
The avatars?
The virtual field trip, let's say, but the avatar that you have created that is in outer environment and can narrate the presentations, for example, this is an example. They
This
need
is
an
a
example.
technology. Yeah, we have developed. We're developing in the project both. It's XR, so we're developing VR solutions, AR solutions, and XR solutions. So the platform supports all these three. In science, my team is developing an intelligent XR assistant, which is mainly deployed in AR and XR environments, not in VR. And it's connected to ChatGPT, and it can basically, in real time, you have an avatar which can interactively communicate with either the teacher or the students. And this can be applied to any application domain. I don't know if this is answering the question. I don't know which question is that.
Yeah, there was a so this applicant was trying to understand or have some specific examples what we mean for virtual field trips, training of young professionals. So they need to understand what we are looking for. I think that's
Okay, this is open. I mean, they're not. We don't have anything in particular in mind. It's open for novel ideas. I'm not going to pinpoint. We want that.
okay. Wonderful. Understood. So this one is answered. Let's move on to the next one. So we have here one participant with two questions. So I will start with the first. In the call for pilots, we are also expected to develop an application bringing it from TRL 4 to 6. If this is the case, we only have the last 4 months for piloting and obtaining all the pilot KPIs, correct? We are somewhat concerned about the KPIs skill retention with this time frame. And the second question is, what does it mean by having a novel pilot? Should the pilot methodology be innovative? So for this, maybe
I can also help on that. Ideally, yes, we would like to have proposals that have some TRL readiness, but it's not necessary. However, we expect the proposals to have previous experience. We don't want to. It's very difficult to have a successful proposal which have expertise, let's say, in a completely different domain, and have just an idea without proven track record. And the novelty, we want novel ideas. We don't want to have ideas which have been implemented many times before. So we're looking for novelty as well. This is quite important. It's a European innovation action project, but we want to have a novel application or novel different applications, not just one application. I don't know if anybody from our team wants to add anything, Holger or Harris, but that's mainly the vision of the project.
I agree. We need novelty here. We are not here just to copy things. So give the best ideas. So that's why also on the grading criteria, I think the excellence plays also for the developers part, at least mostly.
So the methodology could be innovative, but we need the application to be novel. Novel application is very important for the success of the project.
Okay, I think it's understood. Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. So are not-for-profit organizations eligible for call for developers? So I can answer this one. No, so the call for developers is open and welcomes startups, SMEs, and mid-caps as a single entity or as a consortium up to 3 entities. So non-for-profit organizations cannot apply to these call for developers. Okay, then let's move on to the next one. So based on the call text, am I correct in assuming that web AR is preferred over mobile app route due to its lower barrier for user access, greater scalability, and easier shareability? While mobile apps offer more interaction options, they can present more potential issues and shrink the user base. Could you clarify the preferred approach? So maybe Aris, you can address this one.
Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so let's try again. Okay, so based on the call text, I am correct in assuming that web AR is preferred over mobile app route due to its lower barrier for user access, greater scalability, and easier shareability. While mobile apps offer more interaction option, they can present more potential issues and shrink the user base. Could you clarify the preferred approach?
So we will not select any of these. I mean, both of them are fine. Especially mobile phones, they will have the output of the authoring tool, so you can have broader reach. It's not bad to have it on a mobile phone if it's, of course, an AR application somehow. So it's not preferred either, let's say, technology.
Let me step in. We are using both. We're using headsets. In our case, in science, we're using Magic Leap. And also we're using mobile phones and tablets. So we are open. Also we're using Oculus Quest 3. But this is open. It's not limited to only mobile phones. So it's up to the application. And of course, it's also depending on the target group. If you are designing, if you're focused on, let's say, primary schools, headsets, for example, are not a good solution. Maybe mobile phones or tablets are better, or other solutions. There are other solutions as well. If you are focused on, let's say, university students, maybe headsets, HMDs are better. So, but it's not binded, and we're not going to. It has to be proven that this preferred solution is better for mobile technologies or head-mounted displays, or the proposal can have both. It's not, we are doing both, as I said.
Also, what is just to add, AR glasses again, which again they have Android, let's say, operating system. Many of them, a lot of companies are selling AR glasses. So
Yes.
this can be also.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much to both. So let's move on to the next one. We are receiving a lot of questions. I remind everyone to try to upvote question. I think it will be easier for us to address the most pertinent ones. So next one, in these two webinars, it was mentioned that the call for developer is to develop components. But in the open call document, the objective for developers is to create an application for people to take virtual trips, to teach young professionals, etc. And these two things kind of contradict each other. Which of these two is it? So, Fotis, maybe you can address this one.
We're creating components which are going to be added, integrated into the platform. So I don't know if this makes sense.
Okay,
If I had
maybe.
to add here, yes, so we have two different tenders. The first one is to create components for the authoring tool to make it better for
the
teachers.
platform. Yeah.
Yes, the platform to make it better for teachers to use the authoring tool to create lessons. The second one is for the teachers to create lessons based on the existing components that have been created. So there are two different, that's why there are two also tendering processes. So it's not one to do it all. So the developers are not going to create also the lesson plan. Okay, this is for the second tender. The developers are going to create components to make it better for teachers to come and create lessons or ideas for stories or for any good ideas there for the second tender.
Okay, I think Olger wants to say something. Please, Olger.
Yeah, I wanted to explain that the authoring tool has the capability of templates and wizards and plugins, and the idea for the authoring tool extensions would be to develop those, to enhance the authoring tool, make it probably more accessible for non-technical people like the educators, the teachers, that they have a better and easier experience developing the lections, the exercises that they will develop with the authoring tool. But I think also other parts of the platform can be extended if you have a good idea. I think we are open to also extend the marketplace or other parts if there comes in a good idea.
Okay, thank you so much, Olga, for your feedback and input.
So I think to make it clear, because I'm reading now the question as well, it's easy if I read it as well. The component or application, call it as you like, it's going to be included, added to the platform. That's the main thing. I think this is very important to boost the functionality of the platform. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Faris. So next one, we have here a question that is split in several questions. So I think we will start from the beginning and try to address each one of them individually. So regarding the development and staging environment, so can you provide guidelines on setting up a local development environment that aligns with the XR4ED platform staging and production environments? So who wants to address this one?
Either Harris or Holger should answer this question.
Maybe Holger, you want to?
Holger, so can you please?
Can you please? I was searching for the question. Sorry, I was distracted when you read it out because I couldn't find it. Which one was it?
So the question is, can you provide guidelines on setting up a local development environment that aligns with the XR4ED platforms, staging and production environments?
Okay, so this is me, sorry, Holger. So we will provide all that to the successful candidates, okay? There are everything from testing environments to development environments to lab environments. So, and also to tutorials and support throughout the acceleration time. So we cannot provide them now. As I said, we are in the alpha version and it's a closed platform. So this will be provided to the successful candidates, of course, yes. And this will be ready also. You will not need to work on core things. So APIs are going to be there. If it's needed a new API based on your application, we as a core team, we're going to create it for you. So it will be, we will help you during all the time to do that, to implement that. It's not that going to let you there by yourself.
Okay.
And
So,
and maybe I could add, we definitely will provide you with the necessary SDK for the plugin creation. So of course you need there are dependencies, and we will give you access as well as documentation and examples how to create a plugin, an extension, and that you can have start, and we will answer your questions when they come up, as well as if there are some very special requests that you need like access for parts of the authoring tool that is right now not possible, then we definitely think about giving you access and open stuff for you.
okay, thank you. So we have a lot of questions. Let's try to answer most of them. So the second question, the second part of the question is, what CI/CD process and tools are recommended for testing and deploying new components? So Olga, maybe you can address this one.
So we have the authoring tool itself, and in the authoring tool, you can always test your project you're working on. So for that, that's like quick checks and so on are possible. For code-wise, they need to be compiled, and then you can test them together with the authoring tool. So there are
Yeah, if I can help
yeah,
here. So
maybe.
the whole platform, including the authoring tool, marketplace, everything, has already CI/CD infrastructure behind it. This will be given on also to the success candidates how they can test some of the things. It depends where your component is. It will be in the authoring tool, it will be on other components of XR4ED, like the marketplace, through the marketplace. So it depends on where. If it's a web component, for example, we have other, but all this will be given to the successful candidates and is implemented. You don't need to mention that now on a low level, let's say, okay?
Okay, so other questions arrived that are being voted, so I will address these now, and if we have time, we will continue with that applicants.
Maybe I want to address one point so you can for the authoring tool, to extend the authoring tool, you can work on your version of the authoring tool via the plugins. It will be a build, and you just have a DLL that needs to be loaded. So you don't need to wait for an official new authoring tool build that your code is included. So it's a plugin based system. So kind of a hot swap can be done.
Okay, so thank you so much, Olga. So moving on. We have another two questions that we try to answer. So with the store feature inside the XR4ED platform, do we have the option to monetize our content immediately, or should we plan to start this after the end of the 3-year project? Additionally, what is preferred approach? So before inviting one of our colleagues to address this question, I have to say that the timeline for your project is only 12 months. So it is impossible to have this 3-year project. So, but please, maybe Aris, you can address this one.
Can you, because I lost the question, I'm reading the text.
So with the store feature inside the XR4ED platform, do we have the option to monetize our content immediately, or should we plan to start this after the end of the 3rd-year project? Additional, what is the preferred approach?
Yes, the content and everything that will be created in the last year of the project, so that means in almost a year, it will start live with the second part of our tendering process, the teachers and educators that will join in. So this will be tested in live environments in, let's say, closed pilots with our partners and the second tendering winners. And of course, after the end of the project, this will be open. It will be open to all, and also monetization. It will continue after this project as well.
So it's going to be after the end of the project. Yes, that's the short answer.
Okay, thank you so much. Moving on to the next one. Regarding IP rights, can we use the code developer for XR4ED to create commercial products immediately or only after the project concludes? And here
after the project concludes.
Okay. I will assume that is XR4ED project, right? Not the participants project or this cascade funding
For
project.
both, everything will be done after the project finishes. We need to finalize the whole platform, and it's going to be IP is going to be done afterwards.
Okay, so what is the preferred way to handle IP rights in this context?
It varies. I mean, we're discussing with all the consortium. We have different licenses, so depending, it can be open source, it can be pay as you go, it can be a license. We're going to see indeed with the individual projects, but we're open to all types of solutions.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Faris and Aris. So moving on to the next one that's received most upvotes. So what are the specific technical requirements for integrating new solutions into the XR4ED platform? Are there any specific APIs, CDKs, or standards that we should use or adhere to when developing our solutions for the XR4ED platform?
We already answered that on my presentation. There are already ready-made APIs that we shared, but also there are more APIs that we haven't shared, and the team behind it will be able to create new APIs if needed. So you shouldn't concentrate on the API side. Consider that everything is in microservices and can be with APIs involved with them. Now, if you want to calculate your time for development, you will need to have that APIs are ready. You are not going to create APIs for the core platform. We are going to do it if they are not there.
Okay, thank you so much.
I only want to add that we're using Unity. I don't know if we're not using Unreal in the project. I don't know if this helps, but all the solutions are developed in Unity.
Yes, the XR part, the web part, of course,
the XR
are
part,
other languages, yes,
yeah.
with APIs.
And the authoring tool is based on Unity, but will have its own export. So it's more a tool of its own. And yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next one. So are there any examples of content solutions created with the current implementation of XR4ED that are available as reference on its capabilities? So Faris, I know that you have developed already something under this project. Do you want to address this?
Yeah, there are some. I mean, I think this could be, in our case, we developed, for example, and there are papers as well, and there is some code from my previous positions, but it was about some work about doing eye gaze and lip synchronization. You don't necessarily need to use, so we had the know-how for that, and we built on top of this to connect, let's say, avatars to make them talk synchronized and move their eyelid as well. So you can either use the solutions that we have, or you can develop your own, for example, lip syncing solution. So this is an example. If somebody wants, I can provide the papers, for example, and read more information. So yeah, there are examples. I think this should come directly by mail to me or to the rest of the partners. I believe all the partners are doing that. So for Neurogames, the same. For UPC is the same. Nobody started from TRL1.
Okay,
And I believe for the marketplace, not I believe, for the marketplace as well, for Harris. So please send for this, if you want specific examples, there are examples. The answer is yes.
Okay, thank you so much for this.
But
If-
please send it targeted. Say, for example, I want something in AR, I want something in VR, I want something on the platform. So to be more specific on what we can provide. In the slides, there was also a link. There is a paper there. So this is another example, it's an older example. So we have a lot of, obviously, a lot of examples. Yes.
Okay, thank you. If I'm not mistaken, there is some demo presentation on XR4ED YouTube channel, so you can go there also and check for this content solutions example that Fotis was mentioning.
Yes, and on the YouTube channel, you can see some videos as well. We're going to upload more soon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're
So
welcome.
next questions. We have a lot to answer. It will be impossible to respond all those, unfortunately. We will try to address them in the next few days through other means and channels. So moving on to the next one that we have already started answering. So regarding user interaction data, there are two questions. So the first one is this one. So is there any user interaction data or feedback available from current users of XR4ED platform that highlights common challenge or areas for improvement? And the second one is, what are the key user demographics and educational contexts, primary schools, higher education, currently served by the platform? So Aris, you can address this one very quickly.
So the platform is in alpha version, has not been, it's not open yet to users. The interface, so in general, the interfaces now is through the authoring tools, is web for the marketplace. These are the main, let's say, interfaces, or through a custom-made application that maybe is through the marketplace connected. So it's not, we don't have now, besides the partners that are in the project, outside people and educators using that right now. This will be done for the second tendering process to the 10 successful tenderees to use it, and then we will open it to everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. The third part of this question is regarding support and resource. So what kind of support will be available to applicants during the development process, technical support, Q&A sessions? And the second part is, are there any resource or training materials available to help understand the platform's capabilities and best practice for development? I think this one
I have already answered that. It will be full, all the teams here, 11 partners, plus us as a technical coordinator, will have dedicated staff that will support you throughout the acceleration phase. Tutorials as well, and everything that is needed are there already, but we will share also development environments, testing environments, applications to the successful applicants.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move on.
I added, Daniel, I think everybody can see an example of HCI. It's, we don't have a very
We'll share
complete
with everyone.
assessment. I added, I can add some more information about previous examples. This is a current example of ethics and include.
Okay, I share it with everyone on the chat. You can check there.
Yes,
The
yes.
link.
I will
Okay.
add some examples as well. Sorry to about previous examples that from our part, so that people, I will add to both papers so people can see what I was talking about. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's move on to the next question. So regarding call for pilots, we have a web application that runs using 3GS, WebXR, and Node.js server. Regarding our integration with the XR4ED platform, are there front-end libraries that we should use instead of the ones we use for the rendering of the third scene? For instance, directly developed in your front-end authoring tool. Are there backend libraries or APIs that we should consume? Authentication, for instance, will the hosting of the pilots be in our servers? And if not, who will be responsible for the maintenance of the infrastructure? Is there a minimum number of your components we should use to validate the XR4ED platform? So this applicant question put a lot of questions. So maybe Aries, you can start. Some of them were already addressed during the
Yes.
webinar.
Yes, so it's everything should be done through the authoring tool. The authoring we are not going to utilize services in other applications. So servers, everything will be set up here. Web also environments are there already. We already have Node and other infrastructure setup, so everything will be done here. So it's a closed environment. It should not ask for anything outside without our approval for security issues as well. So if there is a use case that needs to place something somewhere else, I wouldn't recommend to have, because also it's a security issue, and we need to have also, if you say, the holistic XR4ED infrastructure, because we are supporting the infrastructure, we cannot support infrastructure outside the XR4ED. So it's preferable you move the things if you have something and you can upgrade inside the platform, inside the XR4ED environment, and not outside. If there is a need and we cannot provide of something outside, API should be there, but it should be first under review from us before acceptance. So it's preferred to be everything through, and all infrastructure will be handled by us, not by you. So we are going to support the infrastructure that we want to approve the 10 tenderies to bid.
Okay, thank you so much, Aries. Just to inform that we will stay here for another 10 minutes. All panelists and speakers will be here to try to answer more questions. We will try to be faster in reply to them. I know that this is very technical and further details need to be provided, but let's move on and see how many questions we can answer and address. So there is here a big one. I believe that we will not have the time to address all these, unfortunately. So I will start here with these that are more direct and more not easy, but more easy to respond. Okay, so our prototype demo for the distance and blended learning pilots is made in Unreal Engine. Do we need to replicate it using the XR4ED platform and authoring tools, or if so, at what point in the project? Aries, maybe you can help.
Yes, as Fotis mentioned, most of the things here are in Unity.
Yeah, it has to be moved to Unity.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Unfortunately,
might need to have a wrapper or something, which
maybe a plugin.
Yeah.
We're not sure how this can.
we develop everything in Unity, so I think it's easier for the projects as well to have a Unity solution. I think I mentioned that before.
Okay, so it is answered. Next one, can you provide some examples of potential avatar that will be available just to understand the building blocks that we can assume to have in the proposed content? Faris, maybe you can reply to this one.
Okay, I'm not the partner who is creating, who's the expert on on the avatar creation. We're using character creator, just to give a hint. So somebody can ask more questions, UPC, who's the expert on that. In our lab, we are using character creator, which is an easy tool to make characters, avatars.
Okay, thank you so much. Next one, about the consortium for pilot. Is it okay to have 2 organizations, or it is required to have 3 partners? It is okay to that the partners are from the same country. So yes to both questions. For the call for pilots, we are asking for consortium up to 3 entities. So the minimum is 2, maximum 3. Should be led by a startup or SME. So this is mandatory, and they can be from the same country. Okay, next one. Without having access to the platform beforehand for the pilot strand, can we assume anything is possible? If we propose a novel idea, will it be
Let me interrupt,
restricted?
sorry. I'm adding a link about the avatars from a publication which is done through the project to get some information for that in the chat. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. That is important. I'm sharing with everyone on the chat. And I will restart again this question. So without having access to the platform beforehand and for the pilot strand, can we assume anything is possible? If we propose a novel idea, will it be restricted to what is possible on the current platform, or will the platform be designed to fit the novel idea, I believe? So, Aris?
So we said that if there is something else, we are going to develop it. The aim here is to create new ideas, innovative ideas, and we are willing to upgrade the platform to accommodate that.
But of course,
This is
if
clear.
the demands for changes from our side or additions from our side became too big, of course, we need to decline it.
Yes, we will evaluate it, but
Yeah.
it depends on the idea, Holger.
Yeah.
The aim of
I agree.
this
If it's a
center,
fantastic idea, we will put in a lot of work.
this idea, we need novelty, and that is also a higher grade on novelty on the first call.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So there is here an applicant to ask if it is possible to have all these questions written. We will discuss how we will address the ones that are not being or will not be replied today. So we will inform you as soon as possible, but at the moment we are continuing with this process. So thank you for great answers so far. Will it be possible to get the today answer questions okay on the F6S platform later? We will check which will be the most effective way to share with you all the answers to your questions, but we will do it for sure. Next one. So regarding the call for pilots, are we supposed to develop the application completely and exclusively on the XR4ED framework if we need some assets that are not present in the framework? Can we design them by ourselves and maybe they will be added to the framework, or what? I think this is already answered, but Aris, do you want to add something here?
Again, which one?
So I will read again. So are we supposed to develop the application completely and exclusively on the XR4ED framework if we need some assets?
Yes, the answer is yes, yeah.
Okay.
We have addressed these questions. Let's move on to answer as many questions as possible.
I'm doing that. So is it possible to propose a project that starts from scratch, or must the technology have a specific starting technology readiness level? I think this is already answered.
Yes, we answered that. Yes.
Okay. Can a company apply to both call for pilots and to develop an innovative app for the platform? Are there any restrictions to companies, or can any company from EU can apply? So you can apply to both call for pilots and call for developers. However, you can only receive from you can only be eligible for one call. So if you are selected, there is a restriction here. We can only support one time. We cannot support you in both tracks. And regarding restrictions to companies, so the type of applicants is very clear. We are accepting all the startups, SMEs, mid-caps, and other organizations that are currently part of the list of participants countries on the Horizon Europe programs. So move on to this one. We need to submit a document with ethics self-assessment. In our case, it's focused on students of primary school. So yes, in the description template, proposal description template, there is a part regarding ethics, self-assessment, and you should address all these particular situations in that sections of the proposal description. Is the platform call focus on any educational domain, or is it tailored to any specific field like practical manufacturing training? Faris, maybe you can address this one.
The platform is not focused on any education framework, you said?
No, domains,
the question
domains, any
is to
domain, any domain of
yes.
education, yes.
So
yeah, we mentioned that as well in the presentation.
sorry, can you repeat?
No, we said that it's for any domain.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
move on.
Okay. Thank you. So the next one is, although the beta is still not public, can you give some features of the 3D engine? Does it support particles, materials, GUI, etc.? Aris?
As we said, we are not going to
Holger
open.
should answer this question.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
support material. We don't allow new shaders, but there are some standard shaders available. And effects and UI is possible as well. Also, there's a localization system included. So for support for multiple languages of UI is also possible.
Okay, thank you so much, Holger, everyone. So moving on to the next one. What is the longevity of the XR4ED platform? What happens with the platform and content available after the project is finished? Who will own the content and the IP rights to commercialization?
Harry, answer this, please.
So after the project is finished, the current things that you are building here is going to be embedded into the launching of the platform. Okay, and I think for these things, the version that you are building, because it's also European Union money, it needs to be open to outside. But several upgrades that can be done after that. If you want to maintain a plugin through another license after that, that's an option. But during the project, the platform will be open after the end of this project. So after that, the IPs will be related, let's say. And as we mentioned before, we can have any type of suggestion or agreement based on that. It depends also on the consortium, because consortium is going to support that also after the end of the project. So we need to take all this into consideration.
Okay, thank you so much. There is here another question that is kind of related to that. All the developer team participate in the evaluation of their companies regarding publications.
Again, where is that?
Yeah, let me start from the beginning. I think it's better to understand the overall context. So the EPR, the status of developed components, is a bit unclear yet. How do the developer team participate in the evaluation of their components regarding, for instance, publications? Also, can a developer component be used by the developers in other contexts, as such standalone app or component?
We are in the alpha version of the platform. We have done several publications for individual tools, but not the platform as such. This has not been evaluated yet. And several publications can be found on the website. I provided some publications here as well in the chat, so you can extract some information from there. The winning projects will have access to the platform.
Okay, thank you so much. So we are reaching our ending. There are some questions that will be not answered, and we will try to do that during the next few days and provide answers to them. Okay, I would like to thank you everyone for your participation, for all your questions. Also, thank you so much to my colleagues on the panelists and for providing such important details and insights on XR4ED platform and open calls terms and conditions. So I don't know if you have a last word. Do you like to say, Faris, about the call? But before that, I would like to invite you all to go to the XR4ED webpage. You can scan the QR code, and there we will have access to all this information, to the technical annex, where some of the, or most of the things that we have discussed today are highlighted there. So we invite you everyone to check the technical annex, and don't forget to use the proposal description template to submit your proposal within F6S platforms. So Fotis, any last words that you would like to mention?
Yeah, a couple of things. Thank you, first of all, everybody, for your interest. We are very happy to see that the solutions, the platform that we are developing is very popular. I would like to say that we're looking for XR novel, again, stress out novel ideas and solutions. And we want to cover ideally all spectrum. We are covering all spectrum of XR. We're having mixed reality, virtual reality, and augmented reality. I'm not saying that the application should be focused on all three, but we are offering a platform which is something which is not very common. You cannot find something like that in the outside world. Most of the solutions you see is online virtual environments. I would like to thank you again, and we're looking forward to receive your applications.